thank God my phone had died, because I probably would have been the one to have died. Maybe they thought I was very stupid. So today I'll be sharing this story with you on the day I almost got kidnapped or robbed or used for rituals. I don't really know the plans the driver and his guys had in mind, but whatever it was, I escaped it. And hopefully, maybe with my story, a lot more people out there could be very careful. Now, let's get into it. Like the last story I shared, where I almost went to see a native doctor, this incident happened that same year. Earlier that year, this one happened towards the end of the year 2012, and I was still 17. Yeah, by then I was 17. Earlier that year I was 16. And it was during the holidays. I was back at home in Port Harcourt. I had gone to see a friend around that Rumola area. There was a hotel there. Anytime I think back to this story, I used to think it was Presidential Hotel we went to, because I remember Presidential Hotel being where I stood to enter the taxi. But it couldn't have been, because my friends were really broke then. I had really broke friends. I don't think any of them could have afforded Presidential, even up till now. I was 17, had gone to see a friend in a hotel. I was not supposed to sleep over. I was meant to go back home, and it was running late. It was about 7, 8, thereabouts. So I remember coming out to the road in Rumola. There was no flyover at the time. So there was a flyover at the time, but it was one single flyover. So I was waiting for a taxi. Now there was a rush of taxi, like people were rushing it. The taxi were not much, so whenever a taxi comes into the park there, if you're lucky you get in, if you're not lucky you wait till the next vehicle comes. Another thing again is I also had a BlackBerry there. Remember they stole my phone earlier that year, so my Nokia C3 was gone, so I got a BlackBerry. I became one of the big boys. It was a second-hand BlackBerry, but who cares? It was a BlackBerry nonetheless. So I was pinging, and the stupid thing was I was actually pinging there. I was like on the road pinging. In my mind I was like, no, be careful, nobody will take it from me. I'll chat, I will look. If a taxi comes, I would not rush, I wouldn't run, because I had class. I mean, who knows who was watching me running and fighting people to get into a taxi? No, come on. So I was just patiently waiting for the taxi that would come and take His Royal Highness carefully and gently. I had a BlackBerry there. I cannot be caught misbehaving on the road like the regular people who had torchlight phones. I was a big boy. So that was where I was pressing my phone, and then the taxi pulled by. Like, the taxi wasn't with the regular taxi. This was like a kind of a special taxi. I guess the BlackBerry was entering into my head, and I thought I was very classy. And the guy just, you know this shortcut taxi that didn't want to pay tickets, they don't want to get harassed by the touts. So the driver just whistled and caught my attention and said if I was going, and I said yes. And I rushed in quickly so that, I don't have to rush with anybody. But no one else was coming in. A few people noticed and saw him and was also asking if he was going, and he just dismissed them. But I figured he was dismissing them because he didn't want to draw the attention of the touts. So he just moved forward away from all those drama. And so I told him where I was going. He said okay, he was going there, but he was going to take a shortcut, a different route, because the main road was packed with traffic. I had no issue with the GRA road. I was familiar with GRA, the route. I knew where to go. I knew that road, so I didn't really think too much of it. And besides, it would add to my classmates, me at the back of the vehicle typing into my BBM, pinging, But then I started noticing that in the first few minutes of the drive, I was the only one in the vehicle. And I told the driver, I hope this is not a cab drop. Like, I'm paying only 100 naira. Don't have it in mind that you're taking only me and I'm going to pay you like 1,000 naira or something. That will not work. And it was like, he knows that he will pick more people along the way. I was like, good, because that's what you should do. And I went back to my phone, and then I didn't really know when the first guy entered, but I know he stopped, he picked the guy, and the guy entered and sat next to me. I couldn't care less. I was just in my phone, pinging and smiling and being in love. I actually remember who I was chatting with there that almost got me killed. I was there being in love. That's an embarrassing story. So I was just there being, chatting, and I realized I realized people, I also started hearing people calling their locations where they were going to and hoping this driver would stop, but he kept going. So, but I was hearing things, I didn't really think too much of it. I was just so focused on my phone. Until suddenly this BlackBerry phone just went off. My second-hand BlackBerry went off. That was the disadvantage of getting second-hand BlackBerry. It just After my phone died, my eyes opened. I began to start looking for what to keep me company. That was when I decided to be more aware of my environment. I started noticing things, I started realizing, oh, this is where we are, we're in Jerry, oh, okay. I started looking around, I started even observing the vehicle I was in. That was when I realized, oh, this car is quite fancy, and this driver looks really, raggedy in a way. And then that was when even the person sitting next to me began to go into my nose. That was when I realized the person that they had picked a few minutes ago did not smell well. And I, all of a sudden I became aware of my environment. And I was like, this guy doesn't smell well. This car looks a little, cool. Yeah, it looks cool. It didn't look like a regular taxi. And I also realized that we had gone quite far, but it was still just two people in the vehicle. And I started seeing that this man was not picking people along the way. And I kept wondering, okay, why is he not picking people along the way? Until we passed a woman who called the place where I was going to. She screamed that location, like the location she was heading to. And it happened to be the same place I was going to. And the driver waved, sort of told her no, or just passed her by, and there was nothing stopping him from picking her. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, why didn't this man pick this woman? She's going to the same place I'm going to. Hope he has not forgotten where I'm going to. And I was like, driver, why you not pick her now? And he was like, pregnant women and their wahala. I don't know if she was pregnant. She might have been fat, but I didn't really check if she was pregnant. But maybe she was pregnant, and I kept quiet. And then he took another route in that same route, in that new route he was taking. He took another new route and said that he needed to beat traffic too. And the new route he was taking, I know that place, but I just did not know how that was going to connect to my own place. I don't know how. I just did not know how that route was going to connect to my house. And in my mind, I was like curious. So I didn't really see a red flag. I was like, oh, let me see how this place leads to my place. That was where it was in my mind. And we were going, and he was still ignoring people until he decided to pick one guy. And he stopped. And first of all, the first red flag was this guy did not say his location. Usually people would scream their location, don't go, hey, I'm going to Choba, hey, I'm going to Mboba, hey, I'm going to Aloe. But this guy did not. This driver just, as if the driver knew him or knew where he was going to, stopped for him to enter. Now, I would have been ignorant of what was going on. Like, they would have just gotten away with it if them too were smart. Maybe they thought I was very stupid because I was pressing my phone and I was not aware. Thank God my phone had died, because I probably would have been the one to have died. When they stopped to pick this guy, the front seat was free. And the seats, usually, I don't know how it is in other states, but in Port Harcourt, here, once you're entering into a taxi, you go from the right, come from this way, which means I would have to shift closer to the door while the first guy they picked will move into the center, while the new guy comes in next. But for some reason, this guy did not move. He had a plastic bag with him, and I think that was his excuse for not moving, but I did not see that as an excuse. He should have moved. So, okay, that was not a problem. The front seat was free. Why can't the guy you are picking go into the front seat? This driver told this guy that he's just about to pick. This driver told him to come through the other way, like come through my side, come through the left side, and so that I would move in to the middle. That was where I just knew that, nope, something was off. At the time, I did not know what it was. I just felt this was just regular inconveniences for me because this is how taxi drivers try to make extra money. That's what was in my head. I didn't think too much of it. In my mind, it was, okay, this is inconveniencing me, and you can't make me move closer to this man that is already not smelling nice. They'll let him go through the that way, or let him go to the front seat. It's better because I just don't want to go closer to him. And they were like, no, don't worry. This guy, I don't want to. He's slim. We'll probably pick someone big so that the person can be in front. Or he was just trying to look for excuses that was just not making sense, and I could tell he was nervous. And this guy he told to come through the that way did not even waste time. I mean, if he was a regular person, he would have taken the front or start the way it was. He just started coming towards my side, and I saw him passing through the front, through the windscreen, coming towards me. That was when I knew I had to come down. I opened the door immediately and I came down, and I was like, okay, Oga, go inside. Let me stay near the door. The guy refused, like, no, I will soon drop. I don't want to go inside. I will soon drop in front. I was like, then stay in front. Then why do you have to push me into the middle? Stay there. Why is he? Must it be here? If not be here, no go sit down. And they're like, no, I'll soon drop here. Don't you the fear? Why you the fear now? Why you the fear? If you say one kidnapping, enter Joe. He started trying to shove me back in, and nah, I was 17, but I was not stupid. I just knew it was off, and I told the driver, you know what? I want to stop here. I want to come down here. Like, let me just come down here. And the guy was like, no, enter. And then the three of them, started trying to make me enter. That was they just, I don't know, they probably must be one of the most stupid kidnappers ever, because the guy inside was now asking me, enter, and don't worry, I'll shift here. Okay, let me go to the front. I was like, what is going on here? Are you all of you getting paid for this? I just paid, and I did not enter again. I went away, and for a while they're still trying to make me enter. They're still trying to convince me. I was like, don't worry, pick more people. It was just awkward and off. Thank God that there were few people around that area. It was close to a restaurant, so there were people outside. There was even a car park nearby. So if they had tried something, I would have been able to run or scream or raise the alarm or something. So that was just my luck. That was my luck. Maybe I wouldn't have known what would have happened. Maybe they were just innocent people just trying to take me home. But it was awkward, and it was when I got home I started thinking deep. I even told a few people, and they were like, I just escaped something that could have been tragic. And that's when it occurred to me that maybe I just escaped being robbed, kidnapped, or killed, because that would have been my case. If I was so into my phone, distracted, if that phone had lasted longer than it did, I probably wouldn't have even known when this man would have entered and pushed me to the middle. I wouldn't have cared, because like I said, I was engulfed in it. I was into it. I wouldn't have cared. But for the fact that that phone went off, my survival instincts kicked in. I became more aware of my surroundings, and I think that is why a lot of young people fall victims for this one chance, because they are not very much aware of where they are. A lot of people are so distracted, even if not in their phone, in their thoughts. Their mind is not just there. It's just somehow, and they don't suspect anything. They're just so that's why they call them innocent, because I wasn't innocent. My mind has been bad from the day one. You can't probably kidnap someone who is not innocent, because their mind is always up. They're always on the run for something. Because innocent people fall victims for this, because their mind is just not there. They are just so free, and you shouldn't be that way. If you're entering a public transport, a public bus, you're traveling, you're going from one location to another, you need to be fully aware. Keep your phone in your bag. Look at your surroundings. Know who is entering the taxi. Know who is leaving. Know who the driver is speaking. Know where the driver is passing. If there's a route you don't understand, make sure they know that you don't know this place, and make sure they explain it to you. If they can't explain how that place will get to your house, it's okay to calm down. Even though they might be innocent, it's okay to calm down. And the truth is, instincts usually help a lot of us, but many people don't know this. If you're distracted at a journey or doing something, your instincts can't guide you, because your mind is not free. That's like, even when I was pressing that phone, I'm sure my instincts were trying to tell me something, but I wasn't listening, because I was chatting with somebody that yada. So maybe, but the moment I dropped that phone, the moment the phone died, my instinct started telling me, Daniel, something is not right. Something is not right. It wasn't exactly telling me what will happen, but it gave me the something is not right vibe, and I picked up on it, and I did what I did. It was later on, after I had gone home, that I started realizing that might have been a group of bad boys trying to kidnap me, kill me. It was towards the December period anyway, so basically probably they were going to take my organs. So that was just the situation, and I really hope people learn from this story. And young boys and girls going into taxis, I see it a lot. They are always in their phones or in their earpiece playing music. The world is not a better place. It's okay, sometimes you can be free, but Other times when you are using the public transport, or you're traveling long journey, you need to be at alert. You need to see anything and suspect everything and suspect everyone. Like literally, you need to suspect everyone. That is the only way, or the only thing that can keep you safe. Even if it doesn't keep you safe, even if you realize you're in a tight end, it will give you enough time to plan what you will do, to give you enough time to see who you can call or text immediately. So yeah, that is just my story of how I almost got kidnapped. I am glad that didn't happen. I probably wouldn't have known what the situation would have been. Like most times I tell people stories that does not have an ending. Like the story where I say I saw my friend's ghost. People are like, but you didn't pick the call, so you didn't know what she said, so we can't enjoy the story. If I had picked the call, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell that story. If I had remained in that vehicle, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell the story. If I had gone to the shrine, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell that story. So a lot of people need to, take shorthand stories seriously, because most times if I had fallen victims to these situations, someone else would have been the one telling the story.